Hey friends, I'm Josie and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a while since I have posted a video and things like that, but I'm trying to get back into it. It's just sometimes it gets hard because I have a family, I have a bunch of kids, and so I'm doing my best. But I think I just came to the realization that you might hear kids in the background sometimes. You might see pauses or something like that because I'm having to attend to somebody. But I still want to be able to show y'all that, you know, you can cook good food. You can cook your own things at home without having to go to a grocery store and buying processed stuff. Not all things that I eat is not processed. I do eat processed foods. My kids do as well. But in my opinion, as long as I know how to make different things, that the things that I do know how to make, I try to make it instead of buying it. And then, you know, I have those skills just in case the world gets a little wonky or something like that. I can go back to those things. But that's just a little thing about what's been going on with me. So I am trying as much as I can to make our desserts and stuff like that along with our bread products. So today we are going to be doing 3 different like bar type dessert recipes. We're going to be doing brownies, we are going to be doing pumpkin chocolate chip bars, and then a blondie is what we are doing. So I'm excited about this, and I can also take some to work with us for our little Thanksgiving thing that we are having tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get into it. We are starting with the brownies. I have my oven preheated to 350. It is trying to come up to that temperature, and we are going to start doing this batter, and then we will put it all in our pan and move on to the next. Okay, so we are going to start off with 1 cup of flour. Excuse me, Lily. Then we are going to do a ½ teaspoon of baking powder. No, sir. And then we want a ½ teaspoon of salt. I use Redmond's real salt. If you haven't heard it, I would highly suggest you look it up and just do your research about it. It's a really good quality salt that I think everybody should be using. And then next we are going to do a ½ cup of our cocoa unsweetened. And then we are going to give this a mix. My cocoa powder is a little bit clumpy, but I think it will be fine. And I would just try to give it a little bit extra mix, or maybe even use my hand mixer when I'm mixing it in the end, because if you squeeze it, then it's fine. So I don't know. So this is the wet ingredient. So now what we are going to do is move on to our wet. Okay, so now to a saucepan. It says you can use a medium one, but this is the one I have that's clean because let's be real, I don't want to wash the one that's in the sink right now. So this is what we are doing. So we are going to just going to throw in 3/4 cups of butter. And then we need to add in 2 tablespoons of the oil of your choice. I use avocado oil for everything. And then we are going to add in a 1/3 cup of sugar. And then we are going to mix that up. And then we are just going to continue to let this melt together. And then after it all gets melted together, then we will take it off of the heat. keep on seeing me look down at my phone is because I'm looking at my recipes. I am not the type of person who will make their own recipes. That's not something I'm into. I can't even remember the things that I make on a daily. Therefore, I don't think recipe making is something that I will ever get into. But good thing for y'all is that I can test different recipes out for y'all so that y'all can, you know, see if those are good or not. And then after that, you can tweak it if you want to. I do on occasion will tweak different recipes that I am using just so I can, you know, make it more to my liking. And I would suggest you do the same as well. But I'll always start with the base recipe and I try, you know, to do that and then do whatever my heart tells me to after I have already made that recipe before. So I'm always going to be looking at a recipe. Even if I'm cooked something a million times, for some reason I cannot remember and I still have to use the recipe. But I think it's okay. And soon I think I'm going to print off all my recipes that I have that I like and keep them in a book just in case something was ever to happen to my phone. Then I would always have that. So that is just a little bit of a FYI for y'all. So the next thing that we are going to do is add in 2 eggs to our bowl. And then we are also going to add in 1 egg yolk. So then that's the egg yolk. And then we are going to add in the remaining sugar, which is a cup of sugar. And this mixture has fully melted, so we're taking that off the heat. And then we need to add in a cup of sugar. And then we are going to just give this a really good mix. And then we also need to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, so next what we are going to start doing is adding in this butter mixture. So since it is hot and we have eggs here, we want to add it in very slowly because if not, then the eggs could scramble and we do not want that. So we are just going to go very slowly and we need to be whisking as we go. Okay, so now all of that is incorporated. So I wasn't recording, but we just added the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And we also want to add in 3/4 cups of chocolate chips and we are going just to give this a really good mix. It's good to use this rubber spatula so that you can make sure you're getting all the way to the bottom and getting as much as the dry ingredients incorporated with the wet ingredients. So now what I'm going to do, since I told y'all earlier that I did still have those clumps in here, I'm going to get my whisk and just try to break those up a little bit. You want a banana? So now we have our pan, and we are just going to spray this really well. And then we are going to pour our mixture into this pan. Our oven is already preheated, so we can just pour it in here and then go ahead and pop it inside of the oven. This smells really, really good. So now we are going to put this in the oven for 28 minutes to 30 minutes. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is rinse these bowls out. I'm not going to wash them because I'm going to be using them again with similar ingredients. So there's no need to waste your time washing them. We're just going to rinse them out, come back, and we are going to start with the next recipe. Okay, so I checked the recipe for the chocolate chip pumpkin bars, and it's the same temperature as the brownies. So we are going to start that recipe next. I already have a 9x13 lined with parchment paper, and then now we are starting. We have a cup of salted butter that's softened, and then we are going to add in our sugar, which we need a cup of sugar. And then we need 3/4 cups of brown sugar. I don't have brown sugar made up, so I'm gonna make my own. So we are just adding a little under a tablespoon of molasses to make our own brown sugar. And we will just mix it together whenever we mix up everything else. And then we need to add in okay, so that's all we're going to add in. Now we just need to, it says you can use a stand mixer, but I don't feel like getting mine out. So we are just going to use this until it dies on me. Next, in this recipe, we want to add in a cup of canned pumpkin. are just going to add this into our cup measuring thing and measure out a cup. And then we are going to add that in. We want to add in 2 teaspoons of our vanilla. And then we need to add our eggs. So we need 1 egg and then 1 egg yolk. There's our egg. Okay. And then we need to add in a teaspoon of salt. This is a 4th measuring spoon, so we're going to do this 4 times. And then we are going to mix this up as well. To start adding in our dry ingredients. So we are going to add in 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. Here recently, I've been getting the jars like this, the glass ones, for the spices that I need. So then, instead of having to buy some from Amazon, I can just reuse these, which I don't know, my brain, it's girl math, I guess, and it works for me. So hey, I think I'm saving, so that's what it's going to be. So now we need to add in 2 1/4 cups of flour. So I have a 1/2 cup. So there's half, there's 1, 1 1/2. And 2, and then we will do a 1/4, and then we need a teaspoon of baking soda, and then we are going to give this a good mix. Right before it's just combined, we are going to add in chocolate chips. So it says a cup, but I think I might do a little bit less and do like 3/4 cups, because sometimes I think it goes a little overboard with any recipe. Even with like chocolate chip cookies, I don't use all the chocolate chips. Okay, so we added that, and now I'm just going to make sure that we got everything incorporated. So now what we are going to do is spread this batter into our baking dish. So I have my baking dish. My parchment paper is a little bit not sitting, but we will make it sit once we add in this. And then you just want to even it all out to the best of your ability. It's not the best, but I think it will do. And then we are going to pop this in the oven as well. Into the oven for about 30 minutes. Whoops. But before we do that, it says to sprinkle a cup of chocolate chips on top, but we are not going to do that. We are just going to do a little bit less. So that's all we're doing. And then we are going to pop this next to our brownies and let it cook for 30 minutes. Okay, so now we are moving on to the Blondie bars. So we are going to do 1.5 cups of, 1.5 sticks of butter. And we are going to melt this in the microwave until it is nice and melted. Okay, so we have our butter. It's not all the way melted, but I think it's good enough. So we are going to have that in here. Yes. Okay, you have to wait. And then we need to add in 1.5 cups of light brown sugar. So of course we have to add in our molasses again to make our brown sugar. And then we just want to mix this together. And the idea of this is to have the hot butter melt the sugar. So after that, we want to, so if you had all your butter melted and stuff, then you want to let this cool a little bit, but mine was not all the way melted, only a little bit of it was. So we are going to go ahead and add in our egg. So what we want is 1 egg and an egg yolk. There's our egg yolk. And then we are going to add in our vanilla, and then we are going to whisk it. So for vanilla, we need 2 teaspoons again. And we are going to mix this up really well. Okay, thank you. And then we are going to start adding in our dry ingredients to this. So we want to add in salt and baking powder, which is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. A 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we need to add in 1.5 cups of flour. So here's 1, and then 1/2. And then you want to get your spatula again and just mix this all together. Okay, get up there. So that was just the timer for the brownies. So I'm just going to make sure to mix this, and then we are going to check on them. Okay, so let's check on these brownies. So to this recipe, you could add in, first of all, our brownies are not done. I've tested them, they're not quite done. So now we are continuing with our blondies. So you can add in all different kinds of mixes. You can add in nuts and things like that. We are not for this one. We are just going to do chocolate chips. And we are going to mix these chocolate chips. You want about 1.5 cups of mix-ins, but I did a cup of chocolate chips. And I think that will be just fine. So we have lined, it says you need 8 by 8. This is something similar, so this is what we got. So this is what we are using. And then we are just going to add in this mixture. And then we're just going to leave this here until our brownies get done, and then we will put these in place of our brownies, just because I don't want to overcrowd my oven. And in the meantime, we are going to clean up our mess. So this is the fun part. But one good thing I have noticed about trying to make things at one time is that you use all the same stuff, so the cleanup is minimum. Instead of having to clean up 3 separate times, it's just one time, which I like. And it just seems like, I don't know, it's just easier. I don't know if it's really true, but since you are already using a lot of the same stuff, it's easy just to have it all out and then be able to put it all up, and it'll be easy instead of having to do it 3 times. So I'm going to wash these dishes up, put them in the dishwasher, and then when our brownies are done, I will bring you along for that. Okay, so now it is dinner time, but I have 2 of the 3 things that are done. So the pumpkin chocolate chip bars are done, and so are the brownies. So I'm gonna turn y'all around and show y'all what they are looking like. So here are the pumpkin chocolate chip bars, and then the brownies are right here. And we are still waiting on the blondies. So as soon as that gets done, then I will come back and show y'all those. And then we'll be ready to wrap it on up. Okay, so now the blondies are done, but I accidentally forgot about them for a little bit in the oven because they took a lot longer than what it said it was going to take, and I actually just forgot about them. So hopefully that they are still good. But let me show you. Don't judge. I don't think it's as noticeable in the video as it is in person. They did get a little toasty, but that's okay because we will still eat it. My kids will eat it and we'll love it. And it will be great. So I will probably cut some of these up and put them in little bags for work tomorrow. And then, yeah, it will be good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, you guys. It's 3 different bar desserts. We did chocolate chip pumpkin, we did brownies, and then we did blondies. Just a fun little thing to do, especially around the holiday season. Of course, it's baking season. But I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to hit that like button and then subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.